Welcome back. Let me ask you a question. Why aren't you already jacked? Why aren't you unimaginably rich? Why aren't you dating only 10s? Why aren't you perfectly disciplined? Why aren't you a perfect Bible reading, church preaching Christian? You see, the world is filled with these unachievable ideals. They're only unachievable ideals. And I got stuck in them, just the same way that you do. I kept asking myself, why am I not jacked? Why am I not rich? Why am I not dating? Why am I making all of these excuses for myself? I should be already there. Why am I not there yet? And these would inhabit my mind over and over, and it would consume me. I'd be constantly anxious and worried about not being enough, not making it to the rest of the other guys. Welcome back. I say again, I'm Liam, and I'm on this journey as well as you to be a pseudo perfect Bible reading, church preaching Christian on the way to my salvation. I've been on this journey of self-improvement for 4 or 5 years, and I've just been a little bit flabbergasted about where the internet is, and I just want to be here to share my little piece of the pie, Lord willing, the creek don't rise, that somebody may get a little bit of value out of it every single day. Now we see the problem here. We do see the problem in the fact that these ideals are not sustainable and achievable for the average person without going somewhat crazy. So I've got 3 steps in order to try and recorrect your ideals to something that's 1, achievable, and 2, will actually create a life worth living, satisfying. So let's just get into it. Number 1 is ease the pressure off. I mean, I'm 16 and I was so worried about not being jacked and rich. Let me say that again. I was 16. I am 16. I was 16 and still am 16, and I'm still worried about not being jacked, not being rich, not having everything exactly planned out. Okay, that's probably where I should be anyway. I'm 16. So for one, I'll give you a story of exactly how bad this was. I was so adamant that I needed to be jacked and just big and strong, and I wanted to be like all of the other guys at age 12, 13, because that's what I saw. That's all I saw around me, were young men being extremely big and strong and fit, and I wasn't as much. And so I would think about it and work and try and figure out how to do it the best and the fastest and get all worked up about it. And I never saw any progress, or not enough that I actually was hoping to see. And I was frustrated by this until I realized, wait, hold on. I'm playing with a leg down. I'm 13 years old. I haven't even gone through puberty yet. How am I supposed to become a man without becoming a man? It's a completely different game. There's a reason you don't have 13-year-olds wrestling full adult men. It's because they're different animals. There is so many changes in the last 3 years that I've undergone, and who would have thought that once I went through puberty, it's so much easier to do the gym life because you actually make progress and you actually become strong. You're built to now be able to do that. But before you weren't able to. So I had to ease the pressure off and say, I'm building the habits right now. I may not be seeing the results, but I'm building the habits of every day eating correctly, going to the gym consistently, and looking at it and seeing where I'm going from a bigger perspective, other than the fact that, like, this week I didn't get super big and I'm not 200 pounds yet. Right? And that is okay. That's going to be fine. It'll all work out in the end. Leading on to the second one, redefine your success in God's eyes. Let me ask you a question. Who decided that to be financially free, you had to have $120,000 a year, 10K a month? 10K a month and you'll be perfectly fine. Who decided you had to be 7%, 5% body fat and super jacked to be shredded? Who did? I don't know. I honestly have never figured that out. It seems like it's a culture-wide phenomena that you have to be super jacked, which means most people are never going to get there. And so nobody's ever succeeding. So that's why I say, let's redefine success for you in God's eyes. See, God never expected you to be perfect. He actually created the entire second law. The new covenant that he built with you is built off of the fact that you cannot be perfect. You never will be perfect. You only can not be perfect. Because of the fall, we are never going to get there. And God knew that, and he loved us, and he came and died for us to save us from our imperfections. Wow, right? So when you're feeling a little bit lost and worried that you're not enough to be in the top regime of the great men out there, just remember you're already richer than the richest man on this earth, because you have something that he'll never attain via his ways. You have salvation. And that's the goal. That is the goal. Like you've succeeded. Good job. You believing in Christ across from the screen from right now, on the other side, you are the richest man on this earth because you have something that is eternal. You have something that will not wither. That's crazy. And you also have a God that's willing to show you what you are meant to do on this earth. So I urge you, ask God, be humble and go before God and say, what do you want me to do? And I think a lot of the times that you can get stuck in, I need to be super wealthy and have a business and be awesome. But the men that are really making it, the majority in my life around me, the men that are actually making it are electricians. They're policemen, firemen, and they got benefits and they're making money and they've got the cool looking truck and they're following God, and that's really all that you need to get to, right? You don't need to be this super duper wealthy mastermind of a business and I'm all that in a bag of chips. No, you just live your life. Nobody's pressuring you to be like that. Live your life the way you want to, because God defined it, not the world. God did. And he knows exactly what he wants for you. And what he wants for you is probably actually the best thing for you. You're going to enjoy it way more than all of this empty world that we live in. It's crazy. Number 3, the final point is stop the madness. What do I mean by that? I'm talking about stop the crazy internet fantasy land. I see so many young men blinded by the internet and its ideals that they can just get caught up in spinning a hurricane. Ooh, that's good. I'm going to try that again. They get caught up spinning in a hurricane of disinformation and imperceivable difference between you and Fantasyland, which is just crazy to me. Most of the guys that you look on with great fervor on the internet, they stop the madness. The reason they're there is because they stopped caring what other people thought about them. They overcame failure by literally having nobody around in order to do the things they need to do. I mean, I think we all can relate to the fact that whenever you hit a bad note where you're singing to yourself and you're like, ooh, hopefully nobody ever heard that. And nobody did. And so you just keep going on with your day. But you only can do that if nobody's around, you know? It's kind of how it works. In the end, failure is just information. It's hard to believe it when I say it to you. On the other side, I can just tell you, failure is just information. But somebody who's never failed before, which is hard to say that you've never failed before, but for somebody that's never failed before, it feels so terrifying. Like you're standing on the edge of a cliff and the cliff has no bottom and you don't know how far down. You could die. You could fall and you could die down in that deep pit of despair and shame because you failed. But let me tell you, when you jump, you're going to realize it's a 4-foot wall. You'll be like, oh, that sucked. I hurt my knees a little bit. Okay, keep going. That's all failure is. But before you do that jump, that you take that leap of faith on yourself, you take that bet on yourself and lose and realize that you didn't win, but you're okay and you're not dead and you're not being actively eaten alive by animals and you're not being completely and utterly outcast by society for one mess up, you'll realize, well, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was. And then you get to be free. You get to realize, I can do anything. And if I fail, so what? I can just try again, which is crazy. And for somebody who's never done that before, you're just looking at them like, how do they do all of this so fast? Well, it's because they're not afraid of doing. So it's pretty easy to just do if you're not afraid to do. You picking up what I'm laying down there? And I'll finish this off with a story. Imagine an ant on a white piece of paper, and the ant's running around and running around. And you put a pen to the paper, and you can draw lines around the ant, and you can guide him to wherever you want, because he thinks that you can't cross that line. You can't cross. So you keep drawing, and you keep drawing, and you close this guy into a smaller and smaller circle until the ant accidentally steps on the line. And the ant realizes that there was no barrier in the first place. And the illusion is over. You cannot control the ant anymore with those pen lines, because the ant realizes that it was all a facade. And that is, in essence, what failure ends up doing to you. It puts a barricade around you and closes you in until you can't do anything, until you accidentally stick your arm out and you cross the barrier and you realize nothing happens. And you are free. So ease the pressure off yourself. Don't let yourself get stuck in that mindset of you need to be everything right now, because this life is a journey of imperfections. You will fail, but you'll be able to get back up. And I hope you're redefining your success off of what God wants for you, because in the end, that is all that really matters. So I'll leave you there. It's been a pleasure, and I hope you really actually enjoyed this video. I feel really good about this one. So I will see you in the next one, and I'll wrap it there. Toodaloo.